So now you have two major price patterns of reversal price patterns of resistance. I've been very successful actually waiting till the close. I shorted Devon Energy the other day, right on the close. I bought these options at $1.38, and I blew out at 4.50 the next day. And now they're even going higher. I mean, I probably shouldn't have gotten out, but 3-4 to 1 overnight, it's pretty good. So this is Illumina on the weekly. There's all kinds of, and all these charts look horrible. You could probably just blindly sell anything. You've got this double top, triple top, whatever you want to call it. It's a top. It's a descending triangle. It's got 1,000 bearish implications. Now we've fallen, and we've been treading water at a previous support level, and now it looks like we're rolling over and ready to kind of reassault another level. It's just a little bit tricky. You can create these little short covering rallies in here where you kind of get into an area where you can get going to a previously explored, and get a bounce. And so I really prefer to try and get these things on a bounce rather than shorting into a FOMO opening. Moderna has been the same thing. I've been screaming about Moderna. From 190 it's down to 120, and this will be a $60 stock and a $40 stock, and I've been saying this for months and months. So, how you kind of get into these things. But, to me, again, pattern equals trajectory. These things can, they can find all kinds of ways to run from their past, but eventually the pattern will dictate the outcome. So it never changes. We can see all kinds of, misdirects and what have you. But to me, the game, is right here. This is the game. This is just nonsense. This is distraction. So once you understand what the game is and what the deal is, this thing is going lower and, sizably lower. And frankly, if you peel out here and look at this whole thing in the context of this, it just suggests that this thing is just going to go to dust. And now we're sitting on this proverbial neckline again. And, the measurement from the size of the neckline to the top suggests that this thing is going to zero. So at 123, people say, well, should I get in now? Yeah. I mean, if this thing's going to, 50, 40, 30, 20, getting in here. So look, if it goes to 135, does that just detract from the thing? No, it's just a distraction. So again, it's very difficult. Sometimes these things get to these levels and you think, well, it's just at a level, I got to shoot at it. And then, you always face one more push. And so that's the challenge of the markets. I'm pretty good at seeing the big picture. But how this thing gets there is, that's a whole other deal. But this is the picture. If you close your eyes, short it here, and look at your account, 8 months later, I think you'd be happy you did that.
Yeah, Brian wants to know who's actually buying in these type of market conditions.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? You should, I never, the last question you want to ask in trading is why? Why is this doing that? Why did this go up? What happened with the Fed today? What's the volume? To me, it's where do I get in and how much risk do I have to take for an outcome? What is the outcome and what is my risk? And is that risk reward relationship worth it? Those are the questions. This is a game of risk and reward. Everything else is cocktail party. Everything else is trying to sound intelligent at a cocktail party. I'm not trying to sound intelligent. I'm trying to make money. And I try and make money by trying and assessing opportunities that are, if I think that, Moderna is going from 120 to, 60 or 50, and I can make $70 and I can determine, well, maybe I can risk, $15 to do that. That's a 5-to-1 risk reward opportunity. So that's something that you will make a lot of money over time if you can find 5-to-1 risk reward. Now, do you have the patience, the discipline to stay in this thing for 3-6 months while this thing bounces around, goes to 90, then bounces back to 98? Markets, they do their thing, but this is got a prescribed destination by virtue of its pattern. And the pattern, sets in stone. So the whys are all in here. People are determining, through the market forces. And so why this is going to go down, is China going to, those are just very non-productive discussions. And I don't have a clue why some people buy things because it's short-term overbought. I mean, whatever, some people think that the market's still going higher. I listen to these analysts all day long, and they break apart things on fundamental metrics. They'll say, well, historically, the S&P's 19, now we're at 17, so we're getting closer to a buy. That is all garbage. It's just garbage. And if you listen to that, you can only go wrong. The only thing to listen to is the market. The market is telling you a story, and this is telling you a story. And I could put half a dozen analysts here. Half would say one thing, the other half would say the other thing. And how can you come up with a trading plan, based on, well, China's going to buy more of this stuff, and the economy is going to slow, and we're going into the winter season, and you can drive yourself crazy. At the end of the day, price is the only truth. Price is the news. Price is a discounting effect. The market's always right. These are, the tenets of, how I, live my life. And all I'm trying to do is create risk reward opportunities. So, I said, like, the other day, I try and assess things either in the opening and then certainly on the close. How something closes relative to the high, given its historical patterns, to me is very important. So, sometimes I start, waiting 15 minutes before the end of the day. Then I start just going through all my names, seeing how something's looking going into the next day. And either I make the calculation, well, if I want to sell something, I'll wait till the next day, wait for a bounce into the opening and sell it, or just take a shot in getting short. So this is Devon Energy. I made a determination that the oil sector looks like it's hit a serious pocket of resistance. You can see this is Devon right here. So we've formed a double top head and shoulders right here. And then somehow we came back and retested that area and created another, resistance level and another. So now you have two major price patterns of reversal price patterns of resistance. And so I'm saying to myself, this is over on the upside. It's over. So once I understand, okay, it's over, how do I get in? When do I get in? And so you can see we had two reversals right here. And this is, again, I look to see at the end of the day, this in this particular day made a new high and closed on the low. And then on, when was it? Thursday, made a new high, closed on the low. So, I said to myself, there's very little risk here. I mean, into the next day, it's possible that this thing could have opened higher, but by closing on the very low, it would have had to come back and retest it. So what did I do? I basically bought, this was trading at about 63, 64 bucks. So I bought the 62 options, very close, not too far away, not too risky for the following week, because this was Thursday already. So the next day was going to expire. So I didn't want to be wrong by one day. So I bought these options, these put options, the 62s that expire at the end of this week. And, on Friday, this thing just dropped out of the bed. I got out of these things at 450 overnight. I mean, this thing just dropped. And so I made 3 times my money, 4 times my money overnight. So this is what I try and do. I try and assist, so I'm not looking at, is Putin going to invade is he going to create a nuclear war? What's going to happen with the oil supplies in Europe in the winter and on and on? I'm just looking at price and risk. And I determined that this formation and the way this settled, there was very little risk in going short here. Even this open higher, I would have shorted more. So this is what I try and do. And it's all about the discipline, waiting for these very small areas. Now this thing gets going, now everyone says, well, where's the risk? Where's the take profit? Now it gets harder. I try and do, these trades as the horse is about to leave the barn. So you can see the pattern was established. Now we have a key reversal. And now I try and get the energy right as it's about to leave. And so now you can see the energy is already uncorked. So now getting in here, is a whole different thing than getting in up here. It's still a short, but the risk reward dynamic has changed. It's not as, narrow, if you will. So this is what I try and do. Just, see how something looks on the close. If I want to sell something, I want to see it close on the low. If I want to buy something, I'll look for a bar like this. I'll look for, a formation, a key reversal. It closes here. I'll start buying this thing on the close. And if it opens lower, I'll buy some more. So this is the discipline. This game's all about discipline. We can be entranced by these magic, huge moves. But now, the bigger the moves are, it becomes more random. So, in this area, how price moves is much more random than, in this area. So as this thing starts traveling down here, now, this is probably going to go lower, but, your risk reward is, much different than if you get it in a very little small, tight area. So, I constantly try and hunt for these small opportunities. Now, one of the things I'm looking at, I posted in the video yesterday, was Costco. I think that this is, it's got an enormous opportunity, because I think this is where a lot of people, just like the oil trade, where you think there's safety in something. And this has been a value trade for a long time. This is, and there's just a crazy, formation here, just like the Dow Jones that I shorted, based on that diamond formation. It kind of feels like Costco's doing the same thing. I probably should have put this on the weekly, but it's the same thing on the daily too. Where it looks like a funky double top head and shoulders already. So this is already tells you that it was over up there. Now you got kind of a head and shoulder here and whatnot. But if you kind of join these coordinates, you trace out, and it probably should have done this on the weekly. You trace out this, giant, diamond pattern. And so, this implies that, we're going, back to 400 at least in Costco. So I am short Costco, probably not as heavy as I would like. I shorted it, into earnings the other day. Earnings came out, it dropped about $20. So I made some good money on Friday. I'm short now. I think it's supposed to come in lower, but I think this market's somewhat recovering. Yeah, the market was down. So the Qs were down 200 when we started chatting, and now they pulled all the way to even. So Costco is going to come in right at even. Yeah, it was a little lower. Now it's going to come in at even.
So you can see, 45 is 1.3 million.
$1.3 million short.
So pop out a profit for 118,000 there.
So you can see how this is going crazy now. You can see how the market just going nuts.
I bet like $1.6 million on this position. I'm showing right now $23,000 gain.